live from the Bahamas Pinball Association. Here with my son. He's celebrating his birthday. I call it my last pain. And so, folks, I just want to encourage you, wish you well. We want to, as usual, begin the show always by remembering those who are burying loved ones today, yesterday, and those who will be burying their loved ones some point this upcoming week. And so you've been listening to this program, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974, Facebook channel Transforming Lives, as well as our YouTube page, Uplifting Men, Transforming Lives. And today we have a very special guest, Cable TV 974. We don't want to forget those individuals. And our line is 433-6917, our WhatsApp line, if you wish to WhatsApp your comments. And we have a very special show today talking about abuse, the challenges that we face with abuse. And this week I marched with the Zonta, Stop the Violence Against the Women and the Girls. And of course, I always expanded also our men, because as you know, I've been involved in prison ministries for so many years, and I've had an opportunity to interact with so much of our men, right? And we're losing a lot of our young men, as well as you know, I've been in numerous communities over the last couple of weeks as part of our Violence Interrupters program, along with Apostle Dr. Carlos Reed. So folks, I just want to welcome you here today. We got a late start. I just want to ask your forgiveness. Those of you tuning in live on Cable TV 974, as well as Global 99.5, joining us on Facebook, YouTube. There was a story in the papers about two young ladies, and a third one I met. As a matter of fact, I met the three this week, Wednesday, at the rally in Rawson Square. And I listened to the story of abuse from these three young ladies, the challenges they face, and the challenges they probably continue to face. And then I also was able to contact one of my former guests, Lavita Thurston, who also will be on sharing her story. And so, folks, we just want to ask you to share the video, share the link. Let's invite others on now on this program, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Jackie Gardner. And so if you don't hear from me much, I will still be listening in, but I'm just trying to get my son sorted at the Bahamas Pinball Association as he celebrates his birthday. Jackie, welcome to this program, and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you, and make sure say happy birthday to your last pain. Make sure enjoy the day with him. Hello to everyone on Global 99.5. Now is the time to call your friends, any and everyone. Call your enemies. Like we see on the show, you shouldn't have enemies. But if you have enemies, this is the show that they need to be listening to, because we transform enemies into friends. And so welcome to the show. We're on Facebook. So hello to those on Facebook. Sometimes we get feedback that we're not connecting with you. So right out the gate, we're saying hello to all our viewers on Facebook. Before we start this all-important show, let's bow for a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, you make the difference in everything. This show would not be productive without inviting you at the very center of it all. We bless our guests from their head down to their feet. We call them women of honor and women of purpose. And we ask that you lead us throughout the show. And at the end of the show, may each and everyone leave with a life-changing positive experience. May there be increased awareness, and may there be positive change. Thank you, Lord, for answering our prayer. Amen. Amen. Well, we have four ladies in the room. One of our guests we had before on the show. I see Miss Smith, and I see Ms. Robbins. LaShawn is in the room. I'm looking for Ms. Poitier. I think she might be joining us later in the show. And then we have Miss Thurston. So what we're going to do, just opening up the gate, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about abuse. And we know that abuse is something that happens any and everywhere. It happens in our home. It happens in our churches. It happens in our schools. It's in here, like I said, it happens on our job. Don't leave that one out. It's in and everywhere, like we said, and it's a big rock topic in the Bahamas. too prevalent in the Bahamas. And so we thought we would have on this show a conversation, a real conversation. And so we have four, like I said, I don't see one of them, but I'm sure she'll be joining us shortly. We have, well, I now see her. We have four bold, strong, courageous, because it takes courage. It takes fortitude to come to the forefront to say, I've had this experience and I now want to use my life like a life book as a testimony to transform others. So ladies, Ms. Samantha Poitier, Ms. LaShawn Robbins, Ms. Davinia Smith.
I noticed Jackie is out. We just wait. Oh.
No, she's here. She was here. She's on.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so we have everybody here. So sorry about that. She's on. I can see her. And Miss Lavita Thurston. Welcome to the show, Transforming Lives. So glad you're here. So the way we're going to start, I'm going to start with Ms. Robbins. She's the first one that was in the room. So I'm going to let her unmute her mic. Just say a little bit, give us some background information. Who is Ms. LaShawn Robbins? Let's start with you. Ms. Robbins?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is LaShawn Catrice Robbins. I was born to the parents, Gregory Bullitt and Miyaka Isaacs. I went to C.R. Walker Senior High. I created a business called Carol Java Coffee House, which is located in Exuma. Since I got saved back in 2005, one of the first things God kind of spoke over my life is that, and which I believe my purpose is to help people move forward. The journey could be hard, life could be difficult with different experiences, but the way we come out of them is very important. So that's just one of the things that I feel like God has always pressed on my heart. So that's what I want to do.
Oh, great purpose. Purpose to move forward.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And so we're going to hear a little bit more. We're going to get into a story, but we just want each person to have, each of our guests have the opportunity to introduce herself. So next in the lineup is the one and only Miss Samantha Poitier. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Miss Poitier?
Hi. I'm just someone who, being a survivor of child sexual abuse, I'm somebody that's really passionate about this issue. I want to make a difference. I want to make this place, this country, safer for, not only my nieces and nephews, but every child that grows up here. I believe that they deserve to be safe. And so I'm always looking for avenues and ways which I can give of myself towards that end. So.
What a wonderful objective to try and make the world a safer place. Thank you so much, Ms. Poitier. And then next we have Ms. Davinia Smith. Who is the one and only Ms. Davinia Smith?
Good afternoon, everyone. Who is Davinia Smith? She is a mother of 4 amazing kids. She is an advocate for the rights of women and girls, women and children, actually. She is the founder of a nonprofit organization, a registered nonprofit called Save Our Daughters 242, a mentorship program for women and young girls to live out their full potential no matter what they're faced with in life. She is a survivor and overcomer of child sexual abuse.
Wow, I love that. Survivor and overcomer. She did not get stuck. Thank you so very much. We can definitely use that story. And then lastly, we have on the show, we had her before, but she's back, Miss Lavita Thurston. Miss Thurston, I know you wear many hats. Who is Miss Thurston? Miss Riss Thurston.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Mistress Lavita Thurston. I am a survivor of rape, 2 separate abusive relationships. I'm a survivor of being addicted to alcohol and drugs due to what I have been through. But God kept me that I didn't let go. I went to school I got a counseling degree. I am a JP also. I am a courts interpreter.
Wow.
I don't like to get in so much different position, but the reason why I kept going is because more information, more power, more strength to serve God people and to help each other, because I believe in being our brothers and sisters keeper and standing in the gap for those that are being abused now. They don't have the strength or the hope now, but when they see women like us who already been through it and we surviving and we doing things, and they hear our stories, they will start to see that I can come out of this also.
Wow, that's many hats. I'm telling you, we have powerhouse women in the house today, and it is it's a big topic. So glad that we have persons who can take it on.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jackie, just before we do, I forget somebody wanted to do a brief promotion, Apostle Clement Russell, okay? So let me just ask him to do that now, so when we could have that behind us and continue. So Apostle, just open up your mic and share that brief promotion you wanted to do first, please, okay? Apostle Russell? Hello?
Here. I don't know.
He's here. His mic just mute. He got his mic mute. I wonder. Okay, continue. Maybe I may need to see if I can unmute him. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thank you so very much. And apology for that interruption at that time. So we are talking about abuse, a big subject, and we want to dive right into it. There's so many times, so many different forms of abuse, and we're going to get into that. You have the physical, the sexual, you have the emotional, you have the neglect, you have abandonment, you have financial abuse, and you have self-neglect, and there's some others, right? It's a very broad topic, and abuse is just mistreatment or misuse of a thing, and normally it's associated with mistreatment in terms of cruelty or violence. All right, so we're gonna dive into this story. Let's start a little bit with Ms. LaShawn. What type of abuse were you exposed? Tell us a little bit about your story, starting with Ms. LaShawn Robbins.
All right, so as I was growing up, I was sexually abused by persons who really were supposed to protect me, family members. And as I got older, I got married, and then I suffered some emotional and verbal abuse. And the thing about them is that we would always classify one worse than the other. But the truth is they both do so much to reconstruct who you really are and who you were really created to be. They all have such a way of silencing who you are and the voice that you have.
Wow, you've said a big thing there that I want to zoom and reconstruct. When you say it has a way of reconstructing an individual, what exactly are you referring to?
Well, I believe that we are all created for a purpose, and we're all given a voice. We're all created with this sense of freedom and ability to achieve and to excel and to thrive. And what I find with myself, looking back on my experiences, the first thing that changed was my ability to see life in a certain way, or my ability to speak up for myself. And so it kind of created it. I became somebody else.
Wow. So it changed your perception. So whatever God designed you to see,
yeah.
Wow. Mindset, perception. And I want our viewers to listen to this, because often person would say that was only a touch, right? Like no real damage was done, having no idea that just a single touch sometimes could leave that spirit where you have distortion in terms of some key things you said. Perception, you can't see. So you're a child, God designed you to see a certain way, but you're seeing distortion of reality. And sometimes these same children come in class with these distortion and they're told that they're fresh little girls. All right. So that's why I want to bring it down. I hope our teachers are listening. I hope our parents are listening. You know, I hope our pastors are listening, because these are the individuals that in your congregation and in your class for behavior. You don't look at what is the root, as opposed to saying, oh, why is she like that? We need to sometimes ask, how did she get like that? How did she get like that? Needs to be the question. So that's a real, and we're going to dive a little bit more in that into your story, because that happened to you at a very young age, and so you had many years to deal with that. Let me ask you this before I move on to our next guest and come back to you. When it happened to you, did you tell? Did anybody know about it, or did you just keep it to yourself?
Well, I kept it to myself, and
how long?
I was admonished to keep it to myself. So from the age of, you know, and the crazy thing is, you know, people ask you at what age it happens, and, you know, I only can say around 7 or 8 because I know I was young and I know I was in primary school,
Okay.
but I wasn't at that point capturing my age.
Right. I fully get you.
You know?
That's good. And that's what it sometimes does with you. It causes even memory loss.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
you
you know what happened, but you can't,
right.
you have to kind of estimate that this was the time that it started.
Fully
And
understood.
so your offenders, they say to you, or your violators, they say to you, hey, you got to keep this a secret. Don't tell this person, don't tell them, or we could get in trouble. And so it almost makes you afraid that you're gonna cause a disrupt in your family's harmony, or you're gonna be the cause of this. You caused this somehow. And
Wow.
so you kind of internalize it, and you're like, well, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna protect the family or protect the individual, or I don't want to bring the shame on myself, because there's a lot of shame in it. Like, what did I do to cause it? Did I do something? Did I wear something? Did I say something? And so sometimes you're so lost as to why this thing chose you,
Wow. That's deep.
you know?
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
sometimes you get stuck in that shame for many years and don't even realize that that's what you're wearing, the garment of shame.
I almost dare to say that it's almost hard to say that you I mean, you can come to a complete place of healing, a complete place of, hey, I'm not ashamed of it anymore, but you still remember it. You know,
Right.
you don't necessarily ever forget it.
You have some persons in the room, they're shaking their head. It's a memory
know,
that stays
it's
in your
there.
mind and becomes a part of your existence. Yeah,
Yeah.
I fully feel you, and I fully get you.
Yeah.
In terms of that. So thank you so much. We're gonna ask you because you know, I want to come back to you because it happened early in your life, and I wanted to know how it impacted you as you grew and you know, as you try to navigate your way through life. Okay, so let's go and let's hear a little bit about Miss Samantha Poyer's story. Tell us a little bit about your story, Gloria.
Well, with me, the thing is, I don't remember a time in my childhood where I wasn't being abused.
Wow.
And my memory goes back as
that.
far as preschool, kindergarten. So it's quite possible that it was happening all my life.
Wow.
But ever since I was aware, it's been happening. It has been happening. Y'all touched on it affecting the memory.
Right.
I have preschool in my mind. I completely blocked out grade 1, and then it
Right.
starts again at grade 2.
Right. More memory blocks. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that's the brain's way of protecting yourself.
Absolutely.
Probably, you know, you disassociate from stuff that's just too painful to carry, right? In your consciousness. So
and I want you to pause right there. Pause right there for parents who are listening, because sometimes children what agreed. Okay, so memory loss, somebody else is agreeing. Sometimes parents or an individual asks, when did it happen? And because you can't give an exact date, they assume that you are making up, persons are making up a story, because if something like that bad happened to you, you would remember when it happened. So I just wanted to bring that out, that sometimes the brain, to protect itself, you don't have those exact dates. So fully got you. Continue with your story.
Yeah, so it continued all the way up until I would say about age 11, going on 12. That's when I graduated primary school. Because I was born in New Providence, but I grew up in North Angeles. So I grew up in Rhode Island. And I was always, I come from a very big family. And so I was always around cousins and aunts and uncles and whatever. And, those people were the main perpetrators.
Wow.
There were several. I think only one or two persons wasn't a relative.
So it's like a family of abuse, a family, I guess maybe it was done to them and they pass it on down.
Yeah, it was definitely generational. I know it didn't start with me.
Okay.
And it was just this thing that was known and nobody did anything about it. Right? So I grew up, sadly, that was almost like a part of our family's culture. Right? I don't know anyone who wasn't touched by it in some way, whether it was directly by being a victim or the perpetrator or just simply knowing, right, or bearing witness to it. But everybody knew, right? And so up until the 6th grade, when I graduated primary school, we moved back to New Providence, my family and I. And so I was no longer within reach of most of my abusers. And so it stopped not because somebody intervened, but because I relocated. And during that time, within my first year here, I suffered a bit of a mental breakdown. I got really depressed, couldn't function or perform in school. And it finally became so bad that my parents finally took notice. After a while, after about the 16th F grade, going from a straight A student, they finally took notice, right?
Wow.
And then, I told them everything that happened.
Were
I
they
remember,
aware? Was it a shock?
no,
Was it a shock to them?
I remember them not being shocked. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I distinctly remember them not being shocked at all. It was more like, almost like, I wouldn't say they were annoyed, almost like trying to figure out, okay, now she's saying something, now we have to do something, almost like that. That's the attitude I read in the room.
Right.
And so nothing was done, of course. These people still were able to come around. They still took me to their houses. It was like nothing ever happened. I lived with one up until I moved out of my house, right? At 21. So I've always been surrounded by abusers. I've never been free of that, simply by nature of how closely related I am to all of my abusers. And nothing was ever done about it. And I remember a very traumatic experience beyond it happening to me was when I watched one of my abusers get called up on charges for doing it to another person. And I watched my parents obtain him a lawyer and get him off of the charges. And that did something to me in the core of my soul. It was one thing to watch, to know that they didn't do anything to defend me, but to see them help to allow them to get away with hurting someone that they didn't even know, someone else's daughter. I never looked at my parents the same way after that. And the defense lawyer was one of my abusers as well. He's dead now, but he was a magistrate. And so, you know, he knew how to get them off because he was one of them. And it's like an old boys club, right? Um, but experiences like that is a part of why I'm so passionate about addressing this head on and keeping this at the forefront of public discussion, because we have to change the way that we address it. We have to change the way that we parent kids. We have to make it a priority to educate your children about what abuse is, give them the proper vocabulary to be able to express if something is being done. Um, um, fostering that communication where they feel safe enough to come to you, right? And the kids have to become the priority, right? They have to be the priority. We have to stop shaming them into silence and making it about your reputation. And it's appalling to me that it would be anything other than the
All about the
priority,
child.
keeping the child
Yes,
safe,
the healing of the child.
right? It's never
Yes.
been about us. It's never been about the
Wow.
kids, right?
Wow.
And so I wanted to make, I want that to become, I want there to be a shift in the culture where it's no longer keep it, hush hush and protect the
Secrecy.
perpetrator.
We're a society of secrecy. And the amazing thing is that's what the enemy uses. He depends on that secrecy to continue that pattern.
Yeah. And so, me becoming vocal led to a lot of abuse and harassment, even in my adulthood, because my family started to retaliate and they went to very extreme lengths to silence me and sabotage me and to intimidate me. They almost successfully bullied me into taking my own life.
Wow.
But happily, I'm here.
Glad you're here.
I've gone through the worst of it, and it's like,
Wow.
if they think I was a problem before,
you're just a problem because now you're a woman with a purpose and a mission.
Yeah.
Someone else is saying same here, that they almost took their life. And I'm so encouraged to see women stand up bold and saying me too in the room, because far too long in the Bahamas, this was something behind the doors and it is prevalent. So imagine many persons experience it in the Bahamas, but yet it is this heightened secrecy, like almost across the length and breadth of the Bahamas. So kudos to every single woman in the room, in the chat that is saying me too, and giving these ladies support. So I hats off to you. You talk about something with respect to family. And I wanted to, in terms of when you were silenced, what did it, because I don't think people realize what happens when a child does not speak. Like they think like, sometimes I think some person think like if you don't verbalize it, it just goes away, it disappears. What happens from your perspective to a child that has all of that locked up on the inside, from your perspective?
Well, what I will say is that nobody told me not to tell, but it was like this almost implicit understanding that I shouldn't say anything. Because it was done in such a secret way. And also erroneously, or maybe I was right. I felt like I would get in trouble.
Wow.
Right?
That's the second. Wow. She's shaking her head. Second person. Yeah. And that's a child brain. That's what people have to realize. That's the first thing a child thinks. They turn it on themselves. Herself.
Right. So, that's why I didn't talk about it until, like I said, when I had my first breakdown at about age 12, I basically was forced to say what was causing it, because everybody saw that something was really wrong. And so I think had I been able to go through life coping the way that I had, I probably never would have told anyone. Right. Wow. And also what it does, the silence, you internalize it, and the narrative in your mind becomes that it's your fault.
And that's
Robbins mentioned earlier, like trying to figure out like is it something that I do? Why does this keep happening to me? Like, did I attract this? Like, did I say something, or why do they think it's okay to do this? And and so you go through this loop where in the end you basically end up vilifying yourself
Right.
and almost, you let the perpetrator off the hook.
I just was
It
gonna say,
never
you take the
occurs to you.
shame. Yes. You
Yeah.
take the curse, the
It never
shame,
occurs
the
to you that
burden.
it's your
Yes.
fault.
And
Yeah.
place it on your own
So,
small shoulders
right.
without even
Right.
skill to navigate it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy. That's heavy for a child. I'm coming back to you. We have lots of persons, and I want to be able to get some of my guest questions. So very quickly, Miss, I think, who did we miss up? Miss Davinia Smith. A little bit about your story. Give us your story, please. Save our daughters. Yes, there we go.
Good afternoon again, everyone.
Afternoon.
So honored to be in the room on this evening. Okay, so it started at the age of 6. We would come into the room, our room. We had a 2-bedroom, and the kids would sleep in one room. Me and my siblings would sleep in one room, and my mom and stepdad would be in the next room. And he would come into the room, and it started by him touching me. And then it started by him penetrating me. I could remember as far back as the age of 6 until I was 13. And then conceiving a child by my molester. And I did tell that when I was at the age of 13, I ended up being sick. I was studying the exams, BJC exams, and I was attending Adrian Nash Junior High School at the time. And I fell sick, and I had to go to the nurse's station. And the nurse asked me a few questions, and by my response, she told me to pee on a stick. And then I found out that I was pregnant, and then so she told me that she would have to call my parents
At 13, you were 13?
at 13.
Wow, okay. Mhm.
And so they were called. My parents came to the school, and my stepfather came, was there also. And every time he was done, he would say, "Don't tell anyone, it would ruin the family." And so I never said anything. And when they came, he gave me that look as to, "Don't tell anyone, it would ruin the family." And all I could do was cry. Because here I am, still a baby myself. Don't know the first thing of raising a child. And they took me to St. Luke's Medical Center, and they found out that I was 6.5 months pregnant. My mom asking who did it, and all I could do was cry. I was afraid to say who did it. And I found my voice at the age of 14. My daughter was 1 at the time. On her first birthday, I took her from McDonald's and to take some photos. And I end up staying out a bit later than I should. And I saw him, we live close to the bus stop. I saw him on the bus stop with a piece of wood in his hand, because I knew if I came off that bus, I was gonna get beaten. Because it was like he was possessive of me. I couldn't talk to anyone. I remember one time I got beaten. I got beaten unconscious because I was talking to a boy in the neighborhood,
Wow.
and he beat me unconscious. I was still knocked out, and I still felt him beating me. He beat me unconscious, and he brought me to, he was beating me to come back. And I remember him walking me after he was finished beating me. We walked by my grandmother's house, and he took me into the room and said, "You're mine. I don't want to see you talking to anybody else." And all I remember that on the bus stop, I'm like, boy, I ain't stopping home because I ain't getting beaten. So I went around the bus. I went around knowing that he was going to work for 5 o'clock. So I rode around the bus. I went back home when he went to work for 5, and I gave the baby to my brother. And I said, "I ain't coming back home," with tears in my eyes. I tell him, I say, "Bro, I ain't coming back." And you know what that meant. You know what that meant when I said I wasn't coming back. And so I stayed out. I ran away from home. I was out for about a week before they found me. And when they found me, I got taken to South Beach Police Station because that was the area I was in. I didn't know where I was going, or I didn't know why. It's like I had to get away from what I was going through at home. And so when they found me, I was taken to the South Beach Police Station, and I told the police why I ran away. And the woman told me, "Cole, you just want to be bad and rebellious." And so I slept in the cell that night. I went to court the next day and I told the judge what was happening, and they sent me to Sunderland's. I don't know why they sent me to Sunderland's, but I was sent to Sunderland's Adolescent Center. And I stayed there about 6 months. And my mommy would come and visit me. My family would come and visit me. And I told her I wasn't going back home. Send me to Eleuthera, send me on the island to my Grammy to live because I ain't coming back at this point. I didn't care about life. I didn't care about my well-being. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, because if somebody who was supposed to protect me could damage me in such a way, who was supposed to love me, nurture me, show me what it really means to be loved, could do this to me, I didn't care at this point. I didn't care. So I became promiscuous. I slept with men. I thank God for Jesus, because the things that I've done, I'm not proud of, but it only could have been God that saved me. And so I became promiscuous, very promiscuous. And it was hard. Life was hard. Kid you not, life was hard. I at the age of 19, I already had 3 kids. And so there was this time I was in the bathroom in the shower and I just had enough of it. I said, God, I need you to save me from myself. I can't do this anymore. Because here I am, not knowing who I am, not thinking that I'm worthy of love and to be loved by somebody. I don't know which direction to go, who to turn to. It's like I was just lost. I was just lost, trying to find myself. And I said, God, I just had enough. I always went to church. My auntie took us to church. We went to Sabbath school every Saturday. So I knew how to pray. I knew how to worship. I always used to sing a lot. So I sang. Every time I would feel down, I would sing. And that was my comfort. I would always sing. When he did that to me, I would ball up in a fetal position and I would just cry out to God. I would just sing or harmonize a song. And like Ms. Robin said, you would never heal from it. You never really heal from it, because there will always be something to remind you. You understand? So you will never fully heal from it, because even now that I'm talking about it, I know that God has brought me a mighty long way. But hey,
I
just the
can
fact
see it.
that it happened,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah,
so
I can
I
see it
had
on your
to,
face. I
yeah,
feel you. And I think persons in the room are sending you love. They feel it,
yes,
and you're courageous to share. That's not something easy to share. So understand that we truly appreciate you making that's a self-sacrifice to help
yeah,
heal other ladies. So
yes,
our
and
support and
so
love is with you.
yeah, and so back in the shower. So here now, I'm older now. I'm married, 3 kids, married. And I don't know the first thing to be a wife. I don't know how to love this man that God has placed in my life. We weren't together that long before we got married, and I couldn't understand what this man saw in me, why he wanted to marry me. I didn't have anything to give him. I
Self-esteem.
didn't know. Yeah, I had a low self-esteem, and this man looked beyond that, and he told me that I was a diamond in the rough. And I couldn't see it at the time. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I'm like, do what you want. I said, tell me what you want, because in my mind, I'm thinking that he is just like the rest. So I'm like, tell me what you want. You want, is it sex that you want? Is it a one night stand? Because I ain't on this run. Just tell me what you want. So he was like, I don't want nothing from you. I want to take you out. Let me tell you, allow me to take you out. And so we went out a few times, and 6 months went by, and we went to dinner. And we went to dinner at Poop Deck, and when I turned around for a second, and when I turned back around, he was on his knees asking me to marry him.
Oh, wow.
And I was
Lots of
afraid.
heart in the room for you. Lots of people sending you love. Go right ahead.
I was afraid because I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, this man can't be serious. Like, what you seeing me do it? Like,
Right.
And he just wanted to marry me. He loved me for me. And I said yes, but in the back of my head, I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? What you doing, Davina?
Right. Right. Because you
What are you
want that.
doing?
It's a good thing. Marriage is a good thing, but you
Yes.
don't know exactly how you're going to conduct yourself in the marriage.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm like, Lord, I don't know what
You're
I can
beautiful.
do. I don't know.
Okay. All kind of comments here. Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Uh-huh.
So now we married now. 5 years gone by, good. And here I am, still not knowing who I am.
Right,
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a wife, but not fulfilling purpose.
right,
I know that there was more that I had to do. And so I am now fighting to find who Davina really is. Who's this Davina? What does God say that Davina, who Davina is? And so I had to fight hard to find Davina. I had to fight hard to allow God to heal me from the inside out. I
Mhm.
knew that my husband couldn't give that to me. And
No,
so I had to
that's,
fight hard.
yes,
I had to fight really hard. And by me fighting so hard to accomplish so many things that I didn't get to accomplish at my younger age, I was distancing myself from my husband. Even though that I was fighting to find me and to better my relationship with my children and my husband, I was drifting away from my husband.
right. Doing
And
probably too
so,
much. Mhm.
yeah, doing too much at the time. I just
Yes,
wanted to be
yes,
perfect, you know? I wanted to make
right,
everything perfect. And so I was
correct,
losing my husband in the end.
right.
And 2019, the year that everything was just booming, the organization was booming. I was awarded from the government for a few awards, youth leader. I got a youth leader award. Just things just starting to line up for myself. And then August 8th, 2019, I lost my husband, and that almost took me out. And
Wow,
I'm like God, like what do I do now? The man that did everything for me, the man that loved me for me, the man that nurtured me to help to grow my children, to help me become who I am today. He was a part of the journey. Now I get to finish without him. How do you do this to me, you know? And so now I had to give it all to God. I'm like, God, it's just me and you. It's just me and you. I really need you now. I need you now to fill my heart. Like, show me who I am. Show me what I'm here for in this earth. Show me my purpose. And I said, God, I need you to save me from myself, because if you don't save me from myself, I don't know what I'll do. And so there was a time where I became so depressed that my children was calling my name, saying, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And I'm hearing them calling my name, but I can't
can't
respond
connect.
to them because here now I'm drifting, depression starting to kick in. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, who who are you? Who are you? And I'm like, God, I don't want to get to this point where I don't know who I am. So I need you to fill me up. And so I started to cry out to God. I said, God, I need you to cleanse me. I need a cleansing. I need a cleansing. I desire more of you, because this isn't it.
Right,
This isn't it. I am not what happened to me. I
right.
refuse to believe that it was my fault. And so I said, God, if you would save me, I would help other young women out there. I would help other young women heal and really be set free from what they have been going through. Maybe they have gone through a divorce, maybe they have gone through the molestation, maybe they have gone through rejection, whatever it is. I've been there, so I know what to look out for. I know how to relate. I said, God, I just need you to clean me up, fix me, get me together so that I can be able to deliver what you have me to say to
Strong
these
enough.
women, what you
Mhm.
have me to minister to these women. I need you to cleanse me first, because I can't do it wounded. I
Right.
can't do it bleeding. So I need you to fill me up on the inside. I really need
You
you,
need to
God.
mask on yourself first before you can put it on someone else.
Exactly. I
Right,
said,
and God is
unveil
able.
the mask. And so I
Right,
began to really minister on God would have me. He would wake me up in the middle of the night, or just, I was always a writer. I was never one to really, I was never vocal, if I could say that. I was always one to write. And so I'd find myself getting up in the middle of the night, and God would download a word in my spirit. And I would have to deliver it. I'm like, God, you really want me to say this? And when I released it, I realized that so many women could relate. I said, okay, God, I hear you. I got you. I feel you. Now this is purpose.
purpose come forward.
Purpose. Purpose came
Purpose come.
forward.
What a story! What a
And I
story! Well, and I hate to. I mean, I wish we had more time. I have this story is such a deep story. I mean, you've so much nugget that women can walk away from. But just one thing before we go to Miss Thurston, just pulling out of your story, I try to pull one big point out of each story. In terms of mothers, I want to just appeal to mothers, and I'm doing this with tears in my eyes as I do this. Mothers who remarry or have boyfriends, right? I was just listening to a story where, a gentleman came into a woman's life with a 8-year-old, and that gentleman was not after that woman. He was actually after her 8-year-old child. That mothers need to look very closely when they have young daughters and they're thinking about bringing a man into their life. I just want to put that out there. Those stepfathers, and especially when you see them they're very controlling, that's and manipulative. Be very careful. All right. So I just want to put that out there, and I'm going to move to Miss Thurston and see if we can get a couple of questions from the audience, despite the short time. Miss Thurston, a little bit about your story.
Good afternoon again, all. My story is this. At the age of 15, I was raped by somebody known to me. And I placed myself in a situation to be raped because as a child, nothing to do at home, just homework, watch TV, and that was it. And so I started to go by a friend. And one time I went home late, and my mother said, "Where have I been? Go back." And so sleeping outside and the draft and mosquito biting you, I wasn't prepared to deal with that. And so the next time I came home late and she told me that, I went by this lady, and that's how I got raped. And when I told the lady what had happened, she said, "We cannot go to the police because they would locked up my parents because I ain't supposed to be by a house in the first place." So I believed her, and I didn't even want to tell my mother, but she knew my mother had a drinking problem. So she used that situation to take my mother out, got her something to drink, and told her I got raped.
Wow.
And then
can I just stop right there? Can I just stop one because you said something, and we have many persons listening, right? You were 15-year-old. You did not put yourself in a position to get raped. I just want to correct that. He had no right to rape you as a 15-year-old. You didn't ask to be raped. You didn't ask for sex. So don't take that blame on. So, and I don't want nobody listening. We have audience listening, persons listening. A child can never cause.
Okay.
So I just wanted to correct that.
Okay.
So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt that, but I just had to put that in there before, we get out of time and I forget the point. Go ahead.
And so we found out that I was pregnant. But a month or two later, I was supposed to have an abortion. My mother came, she stopped the abortion. She said, no, she never killed none of her children. So I have to bring this. And so when I went to the rapist's mother and told her that her son raped me, she said, not a good son, and slammed the door in my face. The rain came down. I was crying, no hope, don't know where to turn, don't know what to do. And I swear to God that they would never see my child. And so carrying this child, being depressed, the lady who I was staying with now, her husband used to work at this garbage truck place. And so every day she used to go and pick him up. And this friend of his used to come by the house and he used to talk to me, and he said that anything I need, he'll be there for me. He just wanted to support. He didn't want anything. And he acted so nice, and I believed him. Now they was going to have a baby shower for me, and he was supposed to get some drinks. So he came there that day, and he said he forgot the drinks at home, so we have to take him for it. Where he took so long in the house, the lady told me, go and see what so-and-so doing, what taking him so long. So how his house was set up, When I knock on the door, he said, come in, the door open. He had already come through his room door onto the porch and in the back of me. I was at the front door. And so he started to touch me, started to kiss my neck, and I started to just act out, and I started to cry, and I started to say, please, don't do this, please don't do this again. And I started to get loud. And so he slapped me and said, get the F out of my house. And I ran out of there. Another hurt. God, why is this happening, Lord? And so the lady said, we will deal with this another time. And so this was another hurt placed on me by an adult. I'm still a child. Ain't had my baby yet.
Wow.
And so going back to
That's
the
heavy.
shower, couldn't enjoy anything because I just get violated again by a man, by an adult, still a child. And so the next few months carrying my child, being depressed, I had baby. And so I didn't see him until like a year after. He came by, he said he was sorry. I was on his mind and he wanted to explain that I overreacted. I just didn't give him a chance to talk to me. And he guessed because of the rape that caused me to act like he was gonna do me something. But I was still broken, so I believed that story. And so we hooked up. And then months later, I moved in with him. This is where the real terror is gonna begin now. Because now I am going to be raped multiple times. Every time he beat me, his way of saying sorry is to buy me and to rape me. If I say no, I'm not having sex with him, he can beat me again, hold me down, take off these clothes, and he'll just do what he have to do. And so I lived an abusive life for so long. Then I was pregnant for him. He took a PVC pipe at 7 months and hit me across the stomach, and I ran to his mother trying to get help. And she closed the door and locked the door and said, not in here. And I felt like I was in this world all alone because I didn't want to tell my parents what was happening to me. I didn't want them to know because I didn't want him to fight them because I was afraid. I had no hope. I thought this man was the most powerful man in the world, you know? And so he broke me down to ground level. And then when I was pregnant with the third child, I had baby. 3 days after coming out of the hospital, I found some information that one of the godparents we had pre-selected, he went with her. And so I asked him about it, and he said, oh, you need to effing go. Where you been? I said, but I just come out of the hospital. How I can go back to the hospital? What am I going back to the hospital for? And he started beating me, hit me with a figurine that bulged my eye right out, had my eye all purple on underneath and around it. The inside of the eye was so red, you know, and I ran out of the house trying to get somebody, a family member, to help me. Nobody was there to help. They stood around, but they didn't get in it. Only one of his sisters used to tell me, leave my brother alone. Many times when I was pregnant, I would have had for Sunday dinner a piece of bread and a cup of Kool-Aid because that's all was there.
Undernourished.
I had to steal baby clothes to get ready to go have baby in the hospital because he would have gambled all his money. Anyhow, fast forward, I had enough of it. All the beating, my scars in my head where I got hit with a Henneken bottle because I didn't want to have sex. When I finally left him, he used to tell me, come for the children money. And when I go to his job for the children money, he'd have the whole office clear out and he would have sex with me before he give me that money. Made me felt like a whore. And so
Wow. To support
finally
your children.
muscle energy to leave him. I didn't care. Even one time he took me in the back by our walkie dog. They had some old abandoned boats, and he tilted me over, held me in the back of the trousers I had on. And he said, you see, you can't see down there. You see how dark it is? That's a deep hole. I'll throw you in here and nobody will know where you is. And all I was thinking about, I don't want to die and leave my children motherless. And I start to talk to him nice. I say, please, baby, I'm not going to leave you. I was just mad and I pleaded with him. Don't do this. Think about our children. And I had to make him believe that I was not going to leave him. So he wouldn't throw me in that hole and leave my kids motherless. And so he did not throw me down the hole. He just took me back up. We left like nothing happened. And I tell him, I'll see you tomorrow, because I had to pretend, because I didn't want him to beat me, because all the beating, it gets worse and worse. Each beating was worse than the last one. Each beating gave me a scar. And so when finally one day my brother stepped in and broke his hand, and that's how he started to leave me alone. And so leaving him 1 year later, still broken, the pieces were scattered in so many places that I couldn't even begin to find them or to know where they were scattered. 1 year later, I left. I got into another abusive relationship where this one, I don't know if it's worse than the other or who is worse. He ran from the grove where he was staying to Rakwasha where I was staying, and told me to screw the window open so he could come through the window to make sure no one was in there, because he had a dream that someone was in the house with me. One time he gave me crab lice and then said, when I approached him about it and I was crying and I said, look what you gave me, why would you do this? Then he started to carry on like he wanted to fight me, and I said, I will find a way to kill you, because this is not me. I don't go around, I don't run around, you did this. Then he finally say, yeah, I know. I slept with this girl, one of my classmates, and she was so and so and whatever. And so I cried, I was scared, and I don't know nothing but crab lice. I don't know how to get rid of them, and them things just to bite so serious. People gave me all sorts of remedy, the burned oil from the car. I tried everything to get rid of those things, but believe me, God had to remove them. It might sound like a joke, but it is serious. It is serious. These are the things that people go through. Painful. And so after that, I kept praying to God, God help me, Lord. I've been through all this abuse, Lord. I can't take it no more. I tried to kill myself several times. I had several nervous breakdowns. Noel Post was known to me. When they see me come there, they say, Levita, what happened? Why don't you leave? Because they were familiar with my cases.
Levita, hello? Levita? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I just have to interrupt
Yes.
for a few minutes. I have to sign off the radio. We can continue on Zoom, but I have to sign off the radio, okay? So, folks, I just want to thank you for those of you who are listening in by Global 99.5, Cable TV 974. I want to thank you for taking the time this Sunday to listen into these powerful stories. I know we all are moved by them, but we have to go sign off live from radio and television. We'll continue on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. You've been listening to the program Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974, every Sunday, 4 to 5. Dave Williams, your host, Jackie Gardner. We end the program the way we always end it, by reminding you that there's nothing more important than having a relationship with Jesus Christ. We're not talking about your church nor my church. nor your denomination, nor my denomination. We're talking about having your personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Dave Williams, Transforming Lives, Global 99.5, every Sunday, 4 to 5. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks. You could
All
continue.
right, thank
We
you.
off the radio
So thank
now.
you so much, Thurston. In the interest, we're gonna let you. So just give us like the summary in the interest of time. We have to do this again. I want to
Okay.
say before we sign off also, thank you for all of those in the room. I see we have representatives from various organizations, and in the chat there are various notes. So please take notes of all the support system that gave feedback in the chat, please. Please take note of those numbers. So on to you, Ms. Thurston, as you wrapped up. And I just want to get a couple of questions in the room, okay? So just wrap up first, Ms. Thurston, back to you to wrap up, and then we'll just get a couple of questions from persons in the room. Ms. Thurston?
Okay, forward from the beatings. He had an armed robbery case, and I prayed to God, Lord, let the jurors bring a guilty verdict. They did bring a guilty verdict. He went to jail. He got 15 years, 3 months. He appealed, came out on the appeal. I was talking to somebody, a friend. He pulled gun on the person and tell the person to push out. And so only God kept me that I didn't let go. He gone back to
Amen.
jail again. And finally I say, God, send me somebody who could be him. Send me somebody who would love me for me. Send me somebody, God, who would take care of me and my children and get rid of these abusers out of my lives. Lo and behold, I ended up using drugs, alcohol, ended up being rebellious, getting locked up. And fast forward, God sent me an angel. And that angel did not
Wow.
give up on me.
That's a good
That
way to
angel
end.
turned around and made
Good
me
ending.
his queen. And 22 years later, I am still with that supportive, loving, humble, good angel. And so those abusers thought that they was doing something to me. They thought they was driving me in the earth. But God said no. God sent somebody who
Amen.
would give me new hope, new life. Somebody who would encourage me. Somebody who would make my true purpose come out. And so my husband and I, we are in ministry. We have a nonprofit ministry also where my daughter was murdered. And so we gone and did a nonprofit organization named Grow in God Immensely. And we work together. We do everything together. And we just loving up on one another.
Wow, what a testimony, powerful testimony. We had 4 powerful testimony in the house, and everyone giving, each and every person giving the honor and the glory. The transformation took place as a result of Jesus coming into her life. I'm going to give an opportunity, just a few questions. We're at the very end, but we always like to give an opportunity to those in the Zoom room to ask questions. Is there anyone with a burning question? Thank you so much for staying with us beyond the time. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you, and we know it's a sacrifice on a Sunday. So special thanks to our guests for this great sacrifice of your story and telling your story and your time. And we want to know if there's any person with a question. Anyone would
Okay, I
like
see.
to ask?
Yes, I see
Miss
Jackie
Smith?
of Miss Marissa Mason Smith from Zonta.
Okay, can you, Pastor Lennon, can you unmute her mic, please?
I don't think he's here. Can she
Hello.
unmute the mic? Go ahead.
Good evening, and I just want to say to God be the glory. I really want to give God thanks for these courageous women who have shared their story to the world. And I just want you to know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I want to encourage you with the word of God that forgetting those things which are behind, you press towards.
Yeah.
There is so much anointing in you. There's so many giftings in you. I am encouraged by the testimony shared this evening. And I just know that God has a place for you and that the best is yet to come in your lives. And just as you share, continue to forgive those persons who have hurt you or offended you. And sometimes it's not even in your home. It is sometimes it is people in your workplace, because violence is not always physical, but it's emotional. It is someone who's bullying you all the time, someone checking your phone all the time, screaming at you, cursing at you, threatening you. They are all signs and acts of violence. And so I encourage you on this platform this evening to search your own hearts and see whether or not you are committing any of these acts towards people. None of it is good. Violence is never tolerated, and we will not condone it. But I encourage all of us today, we are pressing towards peace. Let us, the peace begin in our own hearts. Let us forgive those persons who have hurt us, because God is peace. And I am just encouraged by your testimonies, the strength, and what you've been a blessing to sharing your testimonies. And so if you need help, I just say go and get the help. Call a pastor, call someone you trust, call the crisis center. There's help for you. And as Zonta is part of all of what we're doing in the 16 days of activism, we're saying no to violence in all its forms. And so through our programs, we say from awareness to accountability to action. And I pray God will give you the desires of your heart in this season, and he will strengthen you as you go forward and meet your every need. I am proud of you, my sisters. You are survivors. You are survivors. And you have made a difference in your families and in this country. And I love you all. God bless you. Thank you, Pastor Dave and my dear sister for this time, because this is God's time, Miss Jackie. And thank you, my sisters. Thank you for being a part of this. I've been blessed.
Pleasure. Our pleasure. Is there anyone else in the room? Thank you so much. Great advice. Anyone else in the room?
Yeah, I see Myra Island. I think Alan. Yeah, I think she has a hand up. Go ahead. Go ahead, Myra.
Good afternoon. I don't have my hand up, but I could share half of my story anyhow. My name is Myra Allen, and I used to live with my mom because my dad lived in the States. And my mom was always working, so I had to stay by my Grammy. And I was sexually abused by my Grammy husband at the age of 5 to age 9. And he threatened me, and he was like, I must not tell anybody. I must keep that a secret, or he'll kill me and my mommy. So being so young, I didn't know what to do. But I mean, when I would be sleeping, he would come in the room and mess with me or whatever. But one day, me and him was actually home, and I was scared because I had a feeling he was coming to mess with me. So I get a butcher knife for the kitchen, and I put it under the cushion where I was sitting on the couch. And as he started to approach me, I told him, if you even think of touching me again, I'm really going to kill you. And trust me, that was the day he didn't mess with me anymore. And then one of my aunts, she asked me about it, and then they like kick him out the house, and my Grammy divorced him, but they never went to the police station or nothing like that. But after that, my family didn't look at me like a child anymore, especially my mom, because after that, I suffered from verbal abuse and physical abuse.
Wow.
So I just grew up without hugs and kisses. I just had to pray and ask God to please heal me from all that trauma. And that's just a part of my story. Thank you.
Wow, that's a deep story.
Ladies. Jackie, just before I think Clement Russell wanted to say something, and ladies, I want to say, I know you didn't get enough time, but I am open. I'm sure, Jackie, we can do a part 2 to this, whether it's next week or the week after, as long as you're available. Yes. I just wanted to make that option available. Apostle Clement, there's something you wanted to share. Can you share with us right now?
Blessings. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you wouldn't believe it. My phone is stating stating that the mic is muted.
All right, that's
But
okay.
it's-
Continue
but
to. Yes, it's on.
Listen, good afternoon. Praise ye the Lord. The Lord is worthy to be praised. I'm so happy that all of us have had this privilege. You know, there's a youth conference coming up next week, Saturday, 3 to 6 p.m. under the theme Youth Loud Cry, Remove the Barriers. And I just want to take the barrier of the youth being abused. Most people don't understand how serious youth abuse is. And on both sides, the male molesting males, females molesting females. And so the seriousness of the barrier is you don't have nobody talking on either side. And the other part of it is they introduce their experience. This the youth now who is caught up in this thing. Because if you remember, it takes them into a different mindset. So they could be looking for comfort, interested in being accepted. They go to their friends and they may even say something to their friends and end up in a lesbian or homosexual relationship. Then you got the capturing of the old women because of your story. You got the capturing of the old men because of your story. And so the barriers would need to be removed is that these support groups need to have consistent, ongoing ministries pertaining to this thing. I find out that we take too long to address barriers. The barrier of me not telling, and it festers and it causes the problem to increase. So I just take that opportunity to tell that, but from 3 to 6 next week, the removing of barriers, you know, you got all kinds of barriers, you know, social, you know, the workplace. And see, youth, when you're young and going through the unnecessary, it is very, very hard. And it also puts you into another position with your character. You hear some of them talk about they became promiscuous. That wasn't them.
Yes.
They didn't want to do that, but it was pushed to
Absolutely.
that. You see?
Yeah.
So now we have to connect seriously in this rescue mission. That's my emphasis now.
Yeah.
Concerning address these barriers. And sad to say, those parents who don't have courage, and in some cases where they don't have no financial support, they stay in things because they don't have no help, nowhere to go. Sometimes they're not believed. So we got to address the barriers. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much.
Right, because I see we get some more hands in the room, and I see also Samantha hands in the room, and we can continue part 2 next week. Jackie, that's fine with you? We can continue part 2 next week?
That's fine with me.
Okay, so I see Samantha.
Yes, that's fine. Part 2 will be quite doable because I have an appointment after this, so I can't stay.
Okay,
so
no problem. If you could go, Jackie.
And I just want to for us to end with prayer. Okay. Thank you so very much. I have another appointment, but I want to say blessings from your head down to your feet. And I just want to say that God is with you. All right. You've connected with God and he's with you and he's going to navigate this process. Let your mess be your message. Bye.
Amen.
Jacqueline Gardner, I'm wishing you a wonderful day.
Thanks. Go ahead, Samantha. I see Samantha got a hand raised. Go ahead, Samantha.
Hi, yes. I thank you for everybody for sharing and everybody for their comments and their support. I just wanted to address something. I think it's important not to conflate things that people might exhibit due to trauma with sexual orientation. most persons that are gay or lesbian is not as a result of being molested. That's a myth. I think that's something that's dangerous to put out there. We shouldn't vilify those persons, whatever your persuasion or beliefs might be. And that's just something that I wanted to include in there, because a lot of times I've heard a lot of people conflate that issue, and it tends to take the issue away from the abuse, right? And it's not about sexual orientation, and we need to just keep the focus on the abuse. All right. And whatever your views are on lesbianism or being homosexual or straight or whatever, one doesn't have anything to do with the price of tea in China. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, there's anybody else? Podesta, I know you're still on with us. There was something you wanted to share? Okay, if maybe she's already gone. Okay, so we can, like I said, we can still continue this conversation until up to 5:30. It's 5:18 now. Anybody else wanted to share? Thanks, Samantha. And I know you and LaShawn and Davania did not get a chance to share as much. So definitely next week, once you all are open for it, we can have part 2 of this, because I know there's a story you have to tell. Davania, is there some other things you want to say? LaShawn, we haven't heard from you. Is there something else you want to share? Continue the conversation. It's still live on Facebook. There are person listening to us on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel. So Davina or LaShawn?
I just want to say to anyone that may have been abused in any way, it may have been molestation, whatever it is, I want to say that it was never your fault. I want to say that God can heal you. I want to say to you that you are loved unconditionally. Don't take the abuse on. Allow God to heal you in those areas that you hurt. Only Him can heal you. Only Him can save you. Only Him can restore all of the broken pieces. Only Him can mend those pieces back together. Only Him. Don't look to a man for restoration. Don't look to a woman for restoration. Look to the hills from whence cometh your help. Your help cometh from the Lord. Only God can do that for you. Allow God to heal you. And that is what I wanted to say to you out there. If you are listening to my voice on today, allow God to heal, allow God to mend, allow God to set you free this day. Y'all be blessed.
Okay, thanks. What about LaShawn? LaShawn, are you still on? Is there something you want to say, LaShawn? I know we haven't heard from you for a while.
I'm just
Davina,
listening. I'm
go
just
ahead,
listening.
LaShawn.
And you know, it's so amazing the things that you can actually walk through in your life.
I think she's having an internet challenge.
You can hear me?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's so amazing the things that you can actually walk through in your life. And as I hear the stories, you know, even though they may be slightly different than mine, it's amazing how, you know, you form, not how you form, but how you're affected almost the same ways. Whether it be you sometimes forget certain things to protect yourself, or the way you internalize a lot of things. And so it's just amazing to hear other person's stories, because sometimes healing is even in sharing your story.
Right.
You know, healing is in sharing your story and realizing that you're not the only one. You're not the only person to go through this. And sometimes when you see that another person has taken another step forward for their healing, it also encourages you to take the other step, you know? Sometimes you think when you are isolated, and that's what hurts you so much, is that you get into isolation and you start to think that you're the only person who's actually experiencing this horror, even though you may know other persons may have gone through it, because you don't know anybody. So I think that this platform is very powerful to kind of expose and to teach and to show persons that there's a way that you don't have to suffer in the silence.
Okay. Yes. And thanks. Samantha, I don't know, is your singing voice on? You sang such a powerful song. You say what brought you through this. Samantha, is your singing voice on? You could sing even if only one verse of that song for Samantha.
Yes, Jesus loves me.
Oh yes, Samantha. Go ahead, Samantha.
Jesus loves me. This I know. for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Jesus loves me.
Oh, yes, he does.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Jesus loves me.
Yes, he does.
Oh, yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so.
I mean, I was waiting for the next verse, but you know,
Yes.
I mean, that's powerful, man. You're powerful,
Jesus.
man. That's powerful. Oh, well, hey, I ain't gonna stop if you want to sing another voice. Go ahead. And I was so moved by your singing the other day. Somebody just asked if they can have your number and all. I'm telling you, girl, you're blessed and gifted. But we ain't want to put too much on you. So folks, I want to thank her for being able to sing that song on such a short notice. That I heard in listening to the lady's testimony, and then Samantha talked about. She sang that song. She said, yes, that's what brought her to that God loves her in spite of everything. And that's what is powerful for all of us, is that the God loves us. He doesn't see us separate. He does not see my church, nor your church, your denomination, my denomination. All we all know and we all agree is that Jesus loves us, right? That this I know, for the Bible, what tells us so. And it's powerful. But just before we wrap up, is there anybody else? Because I don't want to do the talking that have something burning. We see a lot of comments in the chat, and we agree next week we will do part 2 to this. So we will have part 2 next week. Same time, same station, same place. Anybody else? Anything you want to say? Somebody say, oh, Lavita said I wrote a book about all the abuse that she experienced. And so Samantha, LaShawn, and Davinia, they now got to, I guess, they got to write their book. But anybody else want to say anything just before we close out?
Yes, I'd like that privilege to share briefly the encouragement of the sisters. Are you hearing me?
Yes, yes.
Sisters, I'm happy that each of you are standing up for the belief that there is a true living God who is able to deliver and to heal and also to help practically when the triggers come. Satan, the devil, the enemy of our souls, will oppress through thoughts. So you need to have a practical way of defeating him. The scripture teaches, resist the devil, glory to God, and he'll flee from you. Draw nigh unto God, and he'll draw nigh unto you. So I'm asking you to be courageous in the practical of defeating the enemy. You see, because he'll want to cause others to not believe that you all have a personal fellowship with him. Fellowship, not only relationship now. Fellowship, that means you're very, very serious. You surrender your all because you realize he's deserving and worthy of your all, whereby you become a more effective rescue mission for your brothers and your sisters who is experiencing abuse. I want to thank God for you. I also would love for you to get in contact with me at 819-3798. 819-3798. Dr. Clement Russell, I await your call, and I appreciate your stand. I appreciate your courage. And I'm asking you to increase in the anointing of God, whereby you would be able to experience the breaking of yokes through the use of the power of God in and through your life, specifically with the topic abuse. Love you all.
Okay, so folks, I just want to thank you. Is there anybody else just before we close out? These ladies will be back next week, God spare all of our lives. And hopefully, Samantha, you could come with another voice of a song. And LaShawn, if you got one too, and Lavita, if you got one too, and Davinia, You know, we could add a little music to it. So folks, is there anybody else has anything else that they wish to say? And Myra, also we want to highlight and focus you. Myra Allen is my good friend, a business lady also. So is there anybody else have anything else they wish to say just before we shut down off Zoom?
Just
Good
like to
evening, everyone. Good
yes.
evening, everyone. I just want to, say to the ladies, be encouraged. Because you all is so strong. May God bless you. May God continue the journey. In Jesus' name.
Okay, thank you, Sister Wallace. Marissa, something you said?
Yes, I just want to encourage these women to stay focused. And if you need a mentor, if you need a coach, someone to help you through this, or a pastor, reach out and get the help, because in life, there's always somebody you're going to need to guide you and support you through the journey. And so do not try to go handle this alone. There are many good people who are out there. May God continue to bless you, strengthen you, and know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And you are beautiful women, beautiful. And God made you that way.
Yes.
Go out
I
and
am
serve
beautiful
the
and
Lord
fluffy.
and fulfill your purpose in God. And that's my desire for you. Let your desires be known unto God, and he is going to grant you the desires of your heart. He is the masterpiece of your life. So God bless you. Have a wonderful week until we meet again next week.
Okay, Shawnette, let's get Shawnette. Shawnette Camp wanted to say something just before we just sign out. Shawnette, I see your hand up.
Yes, I just want to especially say how incredibly proud I am of my cousin Samantha. She's a dear cousin of mine, and I know part of her struggle. And Sam, I just want to say to you, keep walking your journey. Keep standing your truth. Stand in the beauty of who you are. You have a lot to give, and you're not finished. Keep walking, and you're going to step in. You're going to arrive at a point where you will no longer be hiding behind shadows of anything, but you will stand. You will stand in your truth. And I'm just proud of all of the ladies. As a victim of sexual abuse myself as a child, I know the pain and the struggle of having to walk out of it and being delivered from it, and the shame and the guilt that comes and the baggage that comes attached to it, and the journey of releasing those things from your own life and beginning to stand in the truth and the beauty of who you are. And I just want to encourage all you ladies to continue your journey of becoming, continue your journey of standing, continue your journey, because you've all been called, you've walked through this, but the beauty of the God that we serve is he will take the things that was intended to be bad and he will use it for our good. And there are many young women, there are many young people, there are many young men that need to hear your story, and they need the strategies that you're learning now to be able to help them be delivered from it. So stand in it. Sam, again, love you to pieces, and I am so incredibly proud for you. Keep journeying, girl. Keep journeying. You're gonna get to the end, and when you get there, nothing's gonna be able to stop you. Love you. And for those of you that courage, that who did this program, continued these types of forums so other people can recognize the help that's needed, not just to tell the story, but to identify the help and the places that they can go to find help and to find a place of refuge. Again, good evening and bless you all, and have a good week ahead.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you.
Oh, somebody else was saying something just before I sign out? Okay, folks, I just want to thank you for that opportunity, for joining us. It was powerful. It was moving. And so I look forward to us continuing with part 2 next week. Is that another hand in the room just before I end? Okay, I thought I saw a hand. Is that a hand? No. Okay. So folks, I just want to thank you for taking the time. You've been listening to this program, Transforming Lives, on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974, Facebook, YouTube. We're inviting you to tell your friends, tell others to be a part of it. And let's double and triple the audience next week, part 2. Dave Williams, Transforming Lives, Global 99.5. Have a wonderful